Hi guys. My week has not gone to plan at any point so far, so I throw the towel in, give up. Got a message from Stuart today because I'm supposed to be going and introducing him and his 944 and everything like that. His daughter's had a bit of an accident, God knows exactly what, but it's resulted in smashing up her glasses. As far as I'm aware, she's perfectly fine. So he's had to go and deal with all of that. So, no time to do anything else. So a slight change in today's programming. I give up this week. I mean, anybody, obviously, all of you that have been following me up to now, people who've seen all of them that I've uploaded this week, everything. It's just no, just give up. Just, you know, throw the towel in. Sod it. Dear. Well, I'm off to do some shopping instead. So off to go do a bit of wholesale shopping because we're out of bog rolls. We buy bottled water because we're poncy. Just odds and sods like that, really. Just making up everything that we usually buy in bulk that is no longer there. Yeah. Stop then. I hate when people do that. They see you coming and it's like, well, that side of the bridge, if anyone's curious, is actually the side you stop. Okay, you see something coming, you stop there. Because as you can tell, it's wider. And they let one car go and they think, oh, well, we'll keep going and we'll make him stop. And then I'm looking at the entrance and I'm thinking, well, the only thing I can do really is just pull in there. So I go to start pulling in there and then all of a sudden they've stopped. It's like, oh. And you couldn't have just flashed to say, yeah, come on then, keep going. It's like when people sit in their cars doing that. When you look at a car in front of you on a sunny day or in the dark or whatever, can you see the person in that car when there's trees and reflection and everything like that? No. So why on God's green earth do you think that other people can see you doing that? Oh well, never mind. Another little rant. I'll see if I can throw little rants in every so often. Because I know people like it when I go off on one. Oh, dear. Yeah. Eventually, you know, as I get older, I'm just going to turn into Bricktop, aren't I? That's all I'm going to be. I'm just going to be feeding people to pigs. Because you'll need 16 pigs to finish a job in one sitting, and you want to starve the pigs for a couple of days, so the sight of a chopped up dead body looks like carried to a piss head. They will go through a body that weighs 200 pounds in approximately 8 minutes. That means that a single pig can consume 2 pounds of uncooked flesh every minute. They will go, hence the expression, as greedy as a pig. I got it wrong. I was going to go into they will go through bone like butter, but that's earlier in the thingy. Oh well, never mind. I'm not Mr. Perfect. It's not like I've been watching the film recently. I'm just trying to do this off the top of my head. I haven't seen Snatch in... oh, bloody hell. It's got to be a few years. Has to be a few years. Man, but I can just see myself turning into Bricktop as I get older, getting more and more ranty and ragey. And if I keep going through weeks like this, it's not going to take that long. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that here and now. Such is life. August has always been a crap month for me. It's ever since I can remember, anything that's ever gone wrong has always gone wrong in August. I know that sounds bizarre, doesn't it? It's like, how can you have a month of a year that, you know, is crap? It has always been August. Anything that's ever gone wrong, always been in August. It's really bizarre. It's actually got to the point now where I am convinced that whenever I actually shuffle off this mortal coil, must give us pause, it'll be in August. I hate August. I detest it. It's odd, but oh well. Such is life, such is life. Crack on. But yes, off to do the shopping. Now, somebody asked me a question today, actually. Now, it was obviously with Brexit and everything going on. Because at the end of the day, it's happening. I'm going to be referencing it every so often. It's what's going on. And I was asked, do I think that the drivers' legislation in the UK is going to change as a result of Brexit? Now, a lot of people are sitting there thinking, yeah, of course it will, you know. What with Canada are allowed to drive the hours they're allowed to, it'll be more beneficial for us guys. Canada is 3.8 million square miles. The UK is, what, about 94,500 square miles? Canadians need to drive longer. They just need to drive longer. We don't. But the reality is, whether we're inside the EU or outside the EU, it's European legislation. Brought to pass by the EU, obviously, but it's European legislation. Now, we might have left the EU, which is a trading platform, or once we trigger Article 50 and we start the process, we will do. But we're not leaving Europe. As I've said this before, we cannot leave Europe. It is geographically impossible. Okay, the only way we can do it is get about 100 Saturn Space 5 rockets, bung them up and down the east coast and blast ourselves off into the ocean. That's the only way we're leaving Europe. So the Brexit thing, leaving the EU, will change certain things like trade agreements and give us certain control over immigration, as everybody's been screaming about. However, if we want certain trade agreements with the EU, we have no control over immigration in relation to EU citizens. Anybody outside the EU, we don't have to take. But EU citizens, that can't change if we want access to the free market and stuff. That was clever, wasn't it? He just wasn't going to stop in that jag. He was like, I hate people who do that. You're coming up to a T-junction. Let's go flat out. Nobody's ever there. Oh, someone's there. You know. But anyway, going back to the EU point. The thing is, our drivers are still going to need to drive in Europe. And Europe, primarily, is going to be running the EU legislation. Which means there will be no changes to drivers' regulations in the UK, because we still need to be able to drive in Europe. And the other thing is, European drivers have to drive in this country. So if they're driving under EU legislation in Europe, what do they do if we're not under EU legislation? Do they continue to drive like that, or can they follow our rules? Things like that. I mean, long distance drivers who go out of the EU and into countries where driving legislation is virtually non-existent, they all know the basic principles, they know the ways around it and things like that. But it's one of those things of Europe is still going to need to drive in the UK, and the UK is still going to need to drive in Europe. We're not next door to Uzbekistan or something like that. So, no, as a tiny island nation off the coast of mainland Europe, we are not going to be changing the driving legislation. It might work for national drivers, but it could cause serious issues for everybody else, potentially. And what the hell's the point? There really isn't that much point. After you've been driving solidly for about 4 hours, your arse has gone numb, your legs have gone dead, you want to pull over and take a walk, maybe you need the toilet, get a Costa. So what's the point in changing it? You're going to do it anyway. So it'd just be a huge amount of expense for no real reason. So no. Drivers' legislation won't change. It might become British drivers' legislation, or, you know, things like that, and our driving licences might change so there's no longer the European or the EU flag on it and all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, the legislation itself really isn't going to change. But there you go. I thought I would answer that today. Seeing as I have nothing, because I was supposed to be going down to Hemel Hempstead, seeing Stuart, talking about the 944 and what he's getting up to with it, and so on and so forth. I have nothing. absolutely nothing. So I'm just trying to rack my brains about various comments that I've been reading today and thinking, well, I can answer that one, but most of them, they don't need an answer style thing. Kind of stuck at the moment, driving to Chelmsford again. Yeah, last week I drove to Chelmsford and somebody said, oh yeah, well I use park and ride because, you know, it's so much easier than going around the cities and stuff like that, which is fine. It is. And I turned around and said, well, I very rarely ever go into Chelmsford. The following week I'm going back to bloody Chelmsford. I very rarely go into Chelmsford. I mean, I go see my mates at the tyre garage, which is off Broomfield Road, but it's not exactly Chelmsford. It's on the outskirts. It is classed as Chelmsford, obviously, but it's on the outskirts. And so I very rarely go into actual Chelmsford. And the following week, after saying that, I'm going into Chelmsford. Hey! Oh. But now it's using park and ride. Would I, for example, let's answer a question that hasn't been posed. Would I use park and ride to go into a city? No. Unless it's London and you get the congestion charge and I've got to go into that. No, I'd rather walk. You know, I've spent years of my life getting the driving licences I've got. I have paid, before anybody has a go, oh, you're lane hogging. This is a 60 mile an hour limit road. I can technically be in either lane and I am going to catch that downer. So I'm not technically lane hogging as long as I'm doing the speed limit in this lane. I've spent years building the licences I've got, and I pay the tax and the insurance, the ever-increasing bloody road insurance. When I was younger and I got my first car, my insurance was about 1,568 quid, third party. That was it. Third party. No fire and theft, nothing else, third party. And that was on a little 1.1 Fiesta Quartz, on a 1995 N for November reg. N998A00. It was my first car. Tried to kill me repeatedly, and the airbag came out on me in that car once randomly and punched me in the face. Ooh, it's loud. Ooh, it's loud. And the brakes failed on me. Yeah, the brakes failed on me. Going down one of the roads I was along when I was up Yorkshire. I think I mentioned it, Mortimer Road, the one with a hairpin on it. That's where the brakes failed on that blasted Fiesta. They gave in. They just went, nope, you're on your own. My first year of driving, I'm like, fortunately there's a gravel track, God knows what, on that corner, so I just shot up there, handbrake on. Yeah. That was a fun car. That was a very fun car. But yeah, it was 1,568 quid, and as I got older it started going down, and then it got to about £585. I think I was 20? I think it was when I was 20, my quote was £580 odd pounds, £585. Around that figure, I can't remember off the top of my head. It's 580 quid, there you go, that'll do. And it was always a case of, well, when you get to 25 it'll drop again, and when you get to 30 it'll drop again. I am 32. My car insurance cost me £562. It's never bloody dropped. So I'm paying all of this money. I have never reached that moment of really cheap insurance that my dad had. I mean, he was insuring his cars at one point for about 150 quid. And they were all new because he worked for Ford, so he used to buy a new car every couple of years. So it was always fully comp and everything like that. Cheap as anything, he didn't really give a crap. I've never reached that stage, I never got there. So after spending all of this money, would I use park and ride? No. I have to spend all of this money. I have no choice in spending all of this money. Now you bastards, and I don't mean you guys, I mean local councils and stuff, want me to spend even more money using public transport. Sod off! I've paid enough. I'm using my car. It's true, isn't it? And the other thing is, yeah, I know quite a few people don't like driving in cities and things like that, which is fine. I mean, they are a mess. They really are. London is horrible. It is, oh. And cities are busy. There's people everywhere, and obviously we have a multicultural society, which is fine. I have nothing against it. The thing is, in a multicultural society, you get people who come from different countries, obviously. And in different countries, they have different standards of driving. And then you mix them all together in a city. This is why I love Southall so much. Because it really is the Indian style of driving. It really is. You drive on whatever side the road doesn't have the accident. And if it's your turn to die, it is your turn to die. I love Southall. I love going into Southall in a truck. It's funny. I love it. I actually love the place, but and of course, I know people don't like, you know, dealing with cities and things like that. So yes, I park and ride and all that kind of stuff. I don't, because think about what I do for a living. I don't have any issues in this. If I can take my truck into Pimlico, go across, you know, into Vauxhall and around Victoria and all over that kind of area, and up to Trafalgar and here, there and everywhere, and then to South London, Putney and all that kind of stuff, I'm really not going to have any issues in a little I-30 in Chelmsford. So no, I don't. I never use park and ride. To answer a question that was never posed, because I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of stuff to just do for today's upload. Oh, I hate that. I have everything planned, everything organised, lovely-doubly, and it all goes wrong. Something falls off somewhere. At the end of the day, it's his daughter. She's had an accident. I hope she's fine. I will find out, obviously. From what I understand and the way he told me, she just smashed her glasses up. So, probably had a fall, whatever. She's quite young, 7 or 8, I think. So, she's young, whatever. I don't know her exact age. But probably 7 or 8, I would guess. And she's obviously fallen over. It's school holidays, smushed her glasses up, so there you go. That takes priority. But oh, it's just, I had everything lined up. It was all lovely. I thought, yes. I even worked out that because I needed to do this shopping, and I shop in the wholesaler I drive for, and they close by about 4 o'clock. What I would do is I'd go there, do a little bit, you know, a bit of filming, a bit of how's he getting on with the welding, all that kind of stuff. And then whilst he's carried on doing that, I'd shoot up to Luton, because I would be in Hemel Hempstead, go into that store, do the bulk purchases that I need to do, because we're out of bog roll, we're out of water and things like that. And then go back and carry on. Maybe his car will be at the stage where we could go for a bit of a drive. You know, that kind of thing. So I had it all planned out. Lovely. I wake up this morning, the alarm goes off, go to the toilet, do all my whistles and bells, come back in, check my phone, see how many of you guys have been commenting on the recent upload and all that kind of stuff. And there's a message. Daughter's had an upsy-daisy and smushed her glasses up. It's like, oh. Okay, fair enough, no worries. No issues. Kids come first as far as I'm concerned, so it's fine. It's just, it's annoying. I literally have, everybody who's been watching me over this last week, I've literally had one of those weeks. You know how people refer to that if you're younger and you don't really quite get the saying yet, style thing? Adults tend to refer to, I've had one of those weeks. Now you know. Okay, now I've documented it. You know exactly what it means. Everything I've done has gone wrong. Something's fallen off somewhere. Oh well, that's just life. But, oh, here we go. Nothing. Lovely-dovely. I say that way too much. Goody gumdrops and lovely-jubbly. I should have t-shirts made up, shouldn't I? Various stupid things, you know, like I'm only a trucker, what do I know? You know, things like that. I could sell that. But, yeah, hi to all the subscribers before I go into this. Subscriptions have completely stalled out on my channel. Of late, it's been, I've got umpteen dozen subscribers, and then they've all disappeared. And I've got umpteen dozen more, and then they've all disappeared. Which is fine if they've tried us and they don't like what I've continued to do, then it's fine. But it's really bizarre. I was going great guns, lovely, and then I seem to have just hit a wall. I've hit that horrible oomph. And it's ever since I went away on holiday. I was doing well before I went away on holiday, and then I took that couple of weeks off where I did a couple of uploads just to keep you guys updated, and it seems to have stalled. So, don't know how I'm going to improve that. But what I've got to think about doing, and I have been thinking about doing this for a while. You see, these cameras, if I try and hold them and wander along, they're really shaky. The image that comes back is really all the time. And I do have quite high blood pressure, and when I have coffee, and I'm addicted to coffee, I'm one of those people that shakes. It's really annoying. Because it's one of those, because I'm obviously handing paperwork over to people behind desks and sites I've never been to and stuff like that, and all that kind of bits and bobs. I find it very difficult, not because I'm stupid or special or anything like that, but because I like coffee, I drink coffee. The issue is it causes me to shake. It does affect people like that. And mix in, I've got a little bit of hypertension, high blood pressure. It's a family trait. It's something that my grandparents had, Dad's got, I've got, we've all got it. It's a family trait. It's nothing particularly serious given our family history. I have a little shake. Now, obviously, if I've had coffee, a big shake, and if I haven't, or whatever, right, it's very minor. But the thing is, I go to hand paperwork over to people, and they don't know me, first time I've been on site, all that kind of stuff, and I'm shaking, and they think I'm nervous. No, I've had coffee, trust me, I'm not. And of course, because of that, all that kind of walk around stuff that people like Trucker Josh do, I can't do with these cameras because they shake when I'm at my steadiest. You know, I've just had a Costa, something like that, and it's a real problem. So what I've got to try to do, and I'm going to look into doing as soon as I can afford to, because obviously I've got other expenses I really have to take account of, that have to take priority, to be fair, is I'm going to look to get something like a Canon camcorder-y kind of thing. And go on then, buses have to go first according to the highway code now. We have to give to them. So I'm going to try and get a camera like that so as I can do some other bits and bobs other than when I'm driving or sitting in the cab. I can actually go for a wander around, I can show you guys around, bits and bobs like that, because at the moment I can't. And ever since I use my mobile phone when I'm doing the Fleetboard thing. The issue is that I smushed up the camera, and I have to, as you probably noticed when you're watching it, every so often the image will kind of move as if it'll drop. I'm sure you've seen it. That's actually where I've smushed up the camera. I've broken the things that hold it in place. So I have to hold it against the steering wheel, put as much pressure on it as possible to keep it steady, and then do my bits and bobs. So it's wedged up against the steering wheel to keep it steady. That movement is the camera itself, not actually the phone. So I can't use that to walk around anymore. I could get it fixed, but again, what's the point? I might as well get a camcorder that's very good at doing it than use a mobile phone that's probably going to be a little bit... I've forgotten the word I want to use, it's really annoying. Oh, I really am having a really bad week. Compromised. That's the word I'm looking for. It'll just be, you know, use a mobile phone, it's a bit compromised, use a camcorder, it's got better sound, it's designed specifically for that job. So I'll have to have a shufty at doing something like that. But anyway, I think I've made enough. I think I've gone past that limit now. I'm prattling on. I've done enough. I can go and do my shopping in peace. So thanks for watching, guys. Sorry that today hasn't gone the way I advertised it would. But like, subscribe, share about, do whatever it is you usually do. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.